Whether you're doing 6, 7, or 8 figures already in your business, this algorithmic targeting 2.0 strategy will help you gain consistency and traction in the early stages of testing. Watch the entire video and use the system in your own store and let me know how it works as well. One of the most important things in this business, ladies and gents, is knowing who your consumer avatar is. Okay, you must know who your avatar is, whether you're doing 100K a month already, 500K a month, or you're doing $500 a day. You need to know, or you're not doing any money at all. Okay, you need to know who your avatar is. Okay, and you need to have an edge on your competition before going into things initially as well. Which means when you start finding keywords, you start finding a market, you start finding products. Okay, you need to go ahead and realize who in your mind is this person. It's not just what is this person like. It's not just what keywords is this person in. You need to have an actual visualization in your mind as to who this person is. What do they look like? What do they wear? What does their face look like? Where do they live? Okay, all of these things are so important because every single buyer or consistent actual type of buyer in a product niche or marketplace is going to have similarities. Because if you're doing research and you're finding out that you're in the pet market and all of a sudden this specific product is correlating extremely well with this specific community of people, okay, and you have that edge, you're able to market them and spend more budget on these people, get data faster, right? Not lose money, and are able to go ahead and see consistency at a much quicker rate, which pushes you to go ahead and spend more money in the right place, which scales your business rather than losing money and then being discouraged and killing the product. Okay, it's super important. And I get so many questions every single day from all of us, right, about things on Algorithmic, right, which is why I'm so excited to have this this session today. Now, with that being said as well, as we begin to go ahead and create our actual 12 separate columns, ladies and gents, one of the most important parts is your ability to understand that quality keywords is one of the most important things that you'll need to actually create your columns, because so many people are just using massive keywords. Okay, massive keywords that everyone and their mother is in, and you're going to be having more of a generalized approach. Okay, that's why we focus on really 800K to 5 million. Okay, because if you're trying to target 10, 15, 20, 30 million keywords, right, you're going to be really just shooting yourself in the foot, especially on a new pixel, because you're going to be just launching your audiences with large amounts of people. Okay, which obviously is okay when you have data, especially because Facebook loves large audiences. But it's very important that you guys understand that when you're starting off in the process of algorithmic, okay, it's almost essential to have more of a pinpoint actual keyword selection. And the reason is because you're going to be launching so many different columns at once, right? You're launching 12 different columns at once. You need to make sure that you are getting an edge and an idea and an intuition on which actual column is going to do best. Okay, and if you're just launching tons of huge keywords, you're going to be getting random results. Okay, and random results never gives us an edge, never gives us intel, never gives us intellect, and never gives us data. Okay, data is the new gold, and you need to understand and treat it like that. So when you have an opportunity to go ahead and get more data from an actual targeting perspective as to who's buying from you, you go ahead and take that opportunity. Okay, it's very important. As we begin to go ahead and start launching Algorithmic, okay, we have the 33% rule, which is perfect for Ben's actual question. He says, why do we do the 33% rule? Just curious, because I've always followed it, but never understood it. In this business of dropshipping, in this business of fulfillment, in this business of marketing, you don't know what's going to do best. Okay. And even if you're Ezra Firestone or the biggest, baddest guy in the game, right? You're Steve Jobs himself, right? You don't know what's going to do best. Just like you don't know what stock's going to go up or what's going to go down. Okay. No matter how good you are at stock trading. Same ideology here with the 33% rule, which is these 3 different columns. So Ben, to answer your question, the reason we use a 33% rule is to go ahead and have a fair shake at every single differentiative targeting style, which means we could have 2 to 8 keywords with no narrow, 2 to 8 keywords with a narrow, or single interest targeting. Those are the 3 different styles of targeting and that you can have in your specific targeting sheets, which means that when you're creating your algorithmic sheet, you need to stagger your actual style to go ahead and have 4 columns with 2 to 8 keywords with no narrow, 4 columns with 2 to 8 keywords with a narrow, and 4 columns with single interest. And the reason behind this, Ben, is that when you launch a single interest in a certain market, when you launch 2 to 8 keywords in a certain market with no narrow, when you launch 2 to 8 keywords in a certain market with a narrow, you might see consistent results in the pet market with single interest, but then you might see consistent results in the hobby market with narrow keywords. Okay, you don't know what's going to do good. And quite frankly, what you'll start to see when you launch products is a bit of a consistent track record in most markets. Oh, wow, I'm noticing that with this product and these keywords, I'm doing best with single interest. That means when I go ahead and follow the 3-day rule and I kill off the audiences that didn't do well, instead of relaunching or launching a new audience, okay, or dissecting with a style that didn't work, I'll go ahead and begin to launch audiences with a style that's working. Single interest, maybe 2 to 8 keywords with a narrow is working. You're launching more because you now have that edge of knowing, okay, in my ad account with this product in this market, this style is doing better than single interest. So I'm going to go ahead and prioritize launching these over single interest. So the ideology here, Ben, is that it's giving you an edge on actually enabling yourself to know what's doing better at that given time with that given product, with that given niche and that given item. Okay, all of those things are so important because it gives you the opportunity to actually understand what does best. And when you have that information that the rest of the marketplace doesn't have, that gives you an edge to know more about your product and your actual potential consumer, making it so you could spend less money and make more. That's the ideology behind it, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, we have our algorithmic sizing, as we know, ladies and gents. Okay, with algorithmic sizing, okay, we prefer 800K to 5 million. Now, lots of people say, yeah, you know, Facebook prefers large audiences. And I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And it's very, very true. It's very, very true. And 5 million is definitely a large size. Okay, I don't like to see 15, 20, 30 million from the get-go because we don't have much data yet. And Facebook's going to be going ahead and perusing across 20, 30 million people without much data. You let me know how you think that'll go. Right? What if we go ahead with an audience size of 5 million that's more pinpoint? It may give you a bit of a higher CPM, but it's going to be getting you actual better buyers, better buyer potentials automatically from the rip, right? That's the most important part here. When you get to the place like Jason or someone like doing 100K a month, right? You need to be then able to start launching WOT targeting, which then is larger style targeting after you have did it, after you've done 100K a month, 80K a month, whatever. Okay, you need to have the ability to then launch it. If you start launching, you know, non-structured audiences early on in the game with large potential reaches, you're just going to be having sporadic random results without much consistency. Okay, and that's why we launch WOT targeting, wide open targeting with large audiences down the road after we've already proven we have tons of data, probably after Big Bang even. Now, with that being said as well, we're going to go through each of these columns to make sure you guys are actually understanding these specific ones as well. It's important that with understanding the columns, you understand the actual tricks behind creating them as well, ladies and gents. So first, as we know, we have our targeted keyword mix column along with our keyword mix broad target column. Okay, what happens here is these are the most 2 random columns in the entire actual sheet. And what happens here is because we test everything, ladies and gents, okay, because we test everything, ladies and gents, what we're doing here is enabling ourselves to actually have, okay, 2 columns that have random keywords, which means that column A right here, compared to column B, the only difference is broad target will have keywords above 1 million, and this will have keywords below 1 million. Okay, so targeted keyword mix is a conglomerate of keywords that are in the same niche that are below 1 million. That is the rulings for this column, okay, for this column, which might cause you to have a bit of a struggle to get closer to 5 million, which is okay as long as you're in the 800K to 5 million threshold. Okay, notice how we're at around 2.3 million here. Now, with this column, I would call it more of its sister column, right? What we have is the ability to notice that these are above 1 million. And when they are above 1 million, ladies and gents, we have the actual opportunity to see that, oh, this is going to be closer to 5 million. Okay, oftentimes you may want to narrow this column as well, because when you're using keywords constantly above 1 million, you'll have a larger actual sheet size or column size. So it's important to also note that when you have a column that is abnormally large, right, it may be strategic to incorporate a narrow there if you have an open narrow within the 4, right, which is important. So it's always key to kind of save maybe a narrow or a single interest just in case you're struggling with the column. You just want to throw a single interest and be done with it, right? Or you have a large column, you just want to throw a narrow to get the sizing down. Use single interest and narrowing as a way to hedge your actual struggle with certain columns. It's super, super important and a great tip, guys. So that's the actual mix columns, which are probably some of the most, you know, convoluted columns in the entire sheet, as you'd like to be more organized for the rest of the sheet moving forward, which is very, very important, ladies and gents. So now we have our specific types column. We have our magazine flex and then our websites keywords and then types. Okay, so for these specific actual columns, what you'll notice here is more of an actual organized column structure where we're actually picky based on the keyword that we put in. We're not going to be actually choosing random keywords here, is because with structured columns, you actually have real rules. Okay. And with real rules, you have the ability to go ahead and be more strict. Okay. So magazine column is anything that is a publication, an article, a newspaper, what have you. Okay. All those specific actual ideologies go directly in here. Okay, as you see here, we have Backpacker Magazine, Climbing Magazine, Outside Magazine, National Geographic, Field and Stream. Okay, very, very important to understand that with this column, okay, is very passionate people who oftentimes indulge themselves in the material having to do with the niche or the actual market, which these people are very, very prone to buying your products. Okay, so Magazine Flex is a very, very strong and potent column, guys, as is all of these specific actual breakdowns, which is why we launch all of them. Okay, it's important to understand that. Okay, so we have nearly 4.3 million people here in this specific column, which is great. Close enough to 5 million to where we're very, very happy with it. Okay, notice how I say 2 to 8 keywords. We don't have to go all the way to 8 every time. We could go 2 to 8, okay, which means we don't have to go all the way to 8. We could go ahead and cut it off and stop when we hit that 5 million mark, ladies and gents. Okay, that's the ideology here. And the question that I get often is, Justin, would I rather be at 4.3 million or 5.7 million? It's both the same amount off from 5 million. Which one would I rather be at? We're really indifferent. We're really indifferent. Okay, and we like to be as close as we can to 5 million. Okay, so either or would really work. You won't really see much of a difference in terms of CPM and things like that. Okay, so if it's the same amount off, you're really good to go with either way. So it really is what you prefer at that point. As we move over to actual websites and keywords, ladies and gents, we notice a few things. Okay, we notice that this is specifically a mixture of keywords that are seeming to be in different markets or different actual corners of the niche. But in reality, what this is just an actual keyword that has the website on their Facebook page. Okay, there's a correlation with people who have Facebook pages and their websites on it who have built out foundations for their business and brand. It's super, super important that you only put those specifically in this column. Okay, this is literally a keyword that correlates to a Facebook page with a website connected to it and nothing more. Simple as that. Okay, here we have backpacking, camping world, 50 campfires, sleeping in tents. All of these specific keywords, okay, all have a website on the Facebook page, and that is the actual, credentials for this specific column. These will typically be more passionate and more built out brands that have their marketing figured out, which means they have consistent people coming back. Okay, that's the ideology of this column. Very, very simple to find and locate. Oftentimes, though, you'll have smaller keywords, okay, in this column, just because a lot of the time, your big Nikes and your big Adidas's will have too many people in each actual keyword where you won't want to use it. That's the ideology here. Now we have our actual types column. Okay, types column could consist of things that are similar in a certain marketplace. As you can see here, in our camping or hiking column, we have things like frog, mosquito, salamander, turtle. If we're in the actual dog market, we might have things like husky, Dalmatian, poodle, Rottweiler. Okay, if we're in the celebrities column, we might have J-Lo, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Tony Robbins, all those types of guys, right? All the celebrity columns would be in celebrities, all the types of dogs would be in types of dogs, all the types of critters and camping and hiking would be in one column. Notice how this algorithmic sheet helps us break down every little nook and cranny of every niche, enabling you to never let a winning product pass you if it's an actual true winner. We hit every ball in the game here because we're able to see exactly what works and what doesn't by breaking down every column very thoroughly, just like this. Also, little side note and hack here, ladies and gents, please write this down. Let's say you notice that when you launch your algorithmic sheet, you're doing phenomenal and the types column keeps getting damn sales. Okay, types is killing it. And for some reason, passion's just not doing too well. What you can do is when you notice the passion is sucking and then types is doing very well based on our KPI metrics, okay, you could kill audiences and then relaunch audiences again with the style that did very well, which means if types is doing phenomenal, you could relaunch another types in place of a shitty doing passionate column. Okay, which means that us taking an edge and us noticing what's doing well, we can launch another replica of that same column with different keywords to go ahead and get that energy flowing again with that specific corner of the market. That's the edge of algorithmic as well, as being able to launch new audiences with that intel of, this is already doing well for me. Let's launch another one with different style. We now have our Passion Flex. Okay, Passion Flex is based on your own intuition. Okay. It's literally keywords that you're finding that you believe are more passionate than other keywords as well. Keywords like I love dogs, I love cats, cats are us, things like I love climbing, right? Magazines are very, very passionate, okay, because people are buying them, people are reading them, investing time into them. Okay, all of these things are very, very passionate. Okay, oftentimes you'll notice that the passionate keywords will have far less sizing than most of the larger ones, because very, very passionate is less than a very, very broad, large keyword. Okay, so when you're looking at passionate keywords, keep in mind, yes, it's based on your own intuition, but if it's extremely, extremely passionate, it shouldn't be 30 million, 20 million large. Okay, it should only be maybe 2 to below, around that sizing. Okay, and things like I love camping, I love climbing, dogs are us, things like that. Okay, where they're kind of claiming their love for it in the name of it, more or less communities, more forums, right? More passionate types of people, not broad, large keywords, more pinpoint passionate keywords. Because guess what? If you start to see that, wow, the passionate community is loving my stuff, okay, you're noticing yourself that the more seasoned individual, the more seasoned prospect who knows more about the market is your buyer, which means that you're going after more of an intellectual community rather than more of a green community to that specific niche or product. Now, here we have our TV shows in popular groups. Okay, TV shows in popular groups. Okay, obviously this is pretty much straightforward, ladies and gents. You can either choose a TV show that's very actively and targetably known on your Facebook saved audiences column, as well as popular groups, which means popular Facebook groups or popular communities online that are targetable are able to be thrown in the same actual mix as a TV show. Okay, these go together the same. Here we have Duck Dynasty, which is a very famous TV show in the States. Now, hear me out on this as well. This is a big thing for you guys. We're targeting our core 4, USA, Canada, Australia, UK. Okay, and all of a sudden we have 4 keywords, right? 4 keywords to equal 5 million, right? If let's say they're all United Kingdom keywords, not good. Okay, you want to make sure there's a mix, okay? Because probably 85% of you will have, your best market be United States, okay? Which means you want to make your keywords primarily focused on US as well. You could still have some, UK and other keywords in there, obviously, because we're targeting them, but you shouldn't have like 90% of the reach go towards UK and only 10 towards US, which means you want to make sure that every column has more of like an even reach across the board, maybe a bit more prioritized towards United States, because that's where you're going to be getting most of your sales. Netflix consists of a few things, ladies and gents. Okay, it consists of large, broad, passionate keywords. Just like we like to try, all different sizes over here, we like to try just straight up big, proven keywords here. Okay, which means that these are going to be core fundamental keywords. Things like if you're in the dog market, dog bowl, dog collar, dog leash, dog food, dog whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. Large, broad keywords. Okay, large, broad keywords go in here. Okay, general keywords go in here. Okay, generalized keywords, conceptual keywords go in here. Okay, and for example, you could have things like mountain biking, climbing, walking, running, things like that. Large keywords that don't really have much of a pinpoint, that don't give you too much of a direction when you go ahead and read it to yourself. We then have related niche flex. Related niche flex is the following. Okay, let's say we are in the we're in the snake market. Okay, we're selling to snake owners. We want to go ahead and see if we could go ahead and hit a different market that's similar and really expand our buyer base by that much more. Which means if we expand our buyer base by that much more, ladies and gents, okay, it's important to understand that when you move forward and are able to actually understand that you are in a different market and you're doing well in a new, different respective market, you now could create an entirely new targeting sheet, which means if we're in the snake market, we'll begin to go ahead and create a sheet for the reptile or the lizard market, okay? Because if we start marketing our snake product to the lizard market and start selling and we're profitable, we could create an entirely new actual targeting sheet and start selling that new market right away and expand our foundation by so much more, holding up our profitable foundation and infrastructure much, much stronger. Okay, that's the magic behind this column, and why I love it so much is because it gives us the opportunity to go ahead and target double the amount of keywords almost instantly if we start to see results in it. Very, very, very important, ladies and gents, okay? Okay, now as we move forward to something like the buyer's flex, okay, we have the opportunity to really, really get into something different here. So buyer's flex is essentially creating a handmade lookalike audience, okay, which you're essentially taking people who have bought similar products or the same product as you, right? And actually, you noted that they actually commented on an alternate ad. which means when they comment on an alternative ad, you're going to say, hey, this person said they bought this product and they're in the same market as mine. I want to click on their profile and click on the button that says more on their profile, and they go to their likes. When I go to their likes, I'm going to go ahead and see what they like, what other interests or keywords they're involved in. Okay. With that being said, when you notice that you're starting to see correlations or similarities from the same market in the same person's likes, for example, the person who liked the dog or who commented they bought the dog product, you start to see all these dog keywords in their likes. All of those keywords will now be brought into the buyer's flex. Okay, they'll all be brought into the buyer's flex. Okay, the idea here is as they're brought into the buyer's flex, okay, you'll start to see that, well, the second, third, and fourth, and fifth person that I'm finding who have commented this, a lot of them have the same kind of keywords in the likes of theirs as well. Great, great, great sign. Even if you don't notice any correlations between other buyers and having the same keywords, you should still be putting in the keyword that is correlating to the market that you find within the buyer's likes in the sheet. Okay, oftentimes they won't be targetable. They won't be targetable, which is what makes it so hard to find keywords in this column. But I would say this is the most bullish and the most effective column that you'll find and you'll create, which is why it's so totally worth it to put in the extra time and effort to build this out. So here we have Storelight Flex, ladies and gents. Okay, Storelight Flex is the ability for you to go ahead and target other stores that actually sell similar items. Okay, that actually sell similar items. With that being said, okay, let's say you're going into a store like Brookstone. Okay, you're walking into a store like Brookstone. Brookstone is a great place to go ahead and target for tech products and tech gear. Okay, if you look up Brookstone on Google, you'll see how much of a good fit it is. If that's targetable and you're looking to sell a tech gear or a gadget, right? A piece of tech gear or a gadget or some type of electronic, Brookstone would be phenomenal. Storelight Flex is primarily focusing on just actual columns, just on stores that focus on similar items that you're selling as well. Brick and mortar or online stores only, okay? We're not really focusing on any other keywords other than actual online stores or in-person retailers. And that's exactly what goes here in this specific column. Hopefully you guys loved watching this Algorithmic Targeting 2.0 video. If you did, give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to leave an actual question down below if you have them. I'll be answering every single question.